Romans on the British Isles. England was added to the Roman Empire in 43 AD. The Romans conquered England and Wales and stayed there for 400 years. Hadrian's Wall was built between England and Scotland, which remained independent. When the Romans first landed in Britain in 55 BC, their aim was to assess the wealth of the country with a view to absorbing it later into the empire. The Roman commander was Julius Caesar, who had an easy victory over the Britons. As for the conquest of most of Britain, it came in 43 AD, when an army of Emperor Claudius of about 40,000 men invaded Britain. His decision was to make Britain a Roman province, and the Romans quickly overran southern Britain. The emperor succeeded in receiving the submission of a number of the British kings and then left. Though the annexation was duly celebrated in Rome, there was a lot of severe fighting to be done before Britain was conquered. The capital of Roman Britain was York. By 49 AD, most of lowland England was under Roman control. Serious resistance of the Celts in the south of the country took place in 61 AD, when the queen of the Iceni tribe of East Anglia, whose name was Boudica, led her people in revolt. The fact was that the Iceni had been harshly treated by the Romans, and their revenge was terrible. The main Roman settlements Camulodunum, Londinium, and Verulamium were stormed and destroyed. About 70,000 people were killed. The revolt was ruthlessly suppressed, and the governors, with the backing of Rome, took a conciliatory line. Southern Britain settled down to peace and rapid Romanization, where it was possible. The Romans ruled, and the existing upper class was encouraged to adopt Roman dress, as well as luxurious lifestyle and, of course, the Latin language. It is important to mention that there was no part of the country which the Romans could not have conquered if they wished. However, from the Roman point of view, some areas were so hard that garrisoning them would have been extremely costly after the conquest. Thus, the north of Scotland, settled by Celtic people, known as the Picts or Caledonians, was not occupied by the Romans. The Celtic people had lived in Ireland until the 3rd century and then moved to the western coast of Scotland, giving that country the name. Though the Romans boasted that it would only take a legion or about 5,000 men to conquer Ireland, they laid this country completely alone. The Romans managed to establish a flourishing province in Britain. They founded the first cities, and though some of them were later abandoned by the Saxons, they often became the sites of medieval towns and cities. Londinium, London, which was founded by the Romans and where it was convenient to bridge the River Thames, became the provincial capital and the major trading center in northern Europe. Britain soon became a big exporter of corn, lead, and tin, and not until the 18th century was there any road building in the country which could match the Roman achievement. In the 4th century, Roman Britain was threatened not only by Picts and Scots from the north, but also by the Saxons. The Roman fleet was unable to prevent Saxon raids, and there was a great demand for building defences along the east and south coasts. In 367, there was a combined attack on Britain by Picts, Scots, and Saxons. When Rome itself was directly threatened by enemies, the Roman armies had to abandon some parts of the empire. In 410, the Roman army withdrew, and without Roman military might, Roman civilization in Britain disintegrated. We can't be sure, but perhaps Roman Britain disappeared because it failed to make a greater impact on the ordinary people. For instance, farming techniques do not seem to have changed much under the Romans, though it should be mentioned that new vegetables such as cabbages, peas, and fruits like plums, apples, and cherries were introduced. Besides, marvelous buildings and public facilities such as sanitation systems were found in the towns where only a minority of the population lived. At the same time, we can't certainly deny and underestimate those great Roman achievements, still much admired by people.